Jungkook left Wine in the room and visited his brother and Eva. He apologized to them several times. He could tell Eva had asked Jihoon not to make a scene, and for that he was grateful, but that only made him further guilty of his choice and actions. He couldn't understand how slowly Claire was turning out to be like this. He found himself standing in front of Claire's doorstep, waiting for it to be opened. Once it did, he was met with his girlfriend in a robe, and it seemed like she was just came out of the bed. Claire, are you here to apologize? She asked as she went inside, letting him in as well. Jungkook entered, closing the door behind. Yet, didn't went too far into the home. Jungkook, I couldn't talk there because obviously you had already gained a lot of unnecessary attention. But there is no one here. We need to settle it for good. Claire, go on. You've stopped listening to me anyways. Jungkook scoffed. How much more she wanted him in the palm of her hand, just because he was trying to keep himself and not treat her with her own manners. Jungkook, let's break up. I can't continue any of this. Claire halted midway, shock evident in her eyes. Claire, break up? You're breaking up with me for that girl? Is she more important than me now? Jungkook, that's what you don't understand. You're not ready to accept your faults as you keep repeating them. You have done enough to humiliate me several times, but getting it to my family, ruining the couple's important day like this, it ends here. He stepped forward, removed a pin from Claire's hair, and gave it a little wave. It was a beautiful hairpin, seeming to be from old times. Jungkook, that's for my bride, and since you took it without my permission, I'll be taking it back. You can keep the other gifts though, or throw them. Doesn't matter. Goodbye. He turned around, but Claire rushed to hold his arm. Claire, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. You want me to apologize? I will. Or shall I apologize to your sister in law? Or maybe your brother? I'll do it. You can't leave me like this. Jungkook, you have crossed your limit several times. Just because I'm keeping the anger inside of me doesn't mean it won't blow up. So I suggest you to leave my arm right now. Claire had never seen those dead, cold eyes before. Chills ran down her spine as she let go of his arm and stepped back. Jungkook, without looking at her again, left the home, going back to his. The next day, Jungkook entered Ryan's room. He gently knocked on the door, waiting for her permission to enter. Jungkook, may I come in? Ryan, sitting by the window, turned to him and smiled. Ryan, of course, come in. Jungkook, good morning. How are you feeling now? He entered holding a fresh bandage for her injured hand. Ryan, morning Jungkook. I'm feeling much better, and the burn has healed a lot as well. Jungkook, Let me treat it again. I need to make sure it heals well. Vine smiled and made up space for her beside him. She appreciated the gesture and somehow liked getting treated by him personally. Vine, you look fresh today. Did something happen? Jungkook broke up with Claire. I didn't know I was holding it for that long. I thought it was going pretty well. Vine, that was slow for such a strong business minded man like you to pick up. She teased. Jungkook, alright, I'll let it slide this time. He raised his hands in surrender as she chuckled. He then held her hand in his very gently and started to treat it himself with such care and affection. Jungkook, Eva selected the flowers for decorations. I was going to make sure they put it up all nicely. Would you like to join? Ryan, who rejects being around flowers? He smiled to himself as if he achieved something big and ready to brag about the little yes from her. Surely, she had a different effect on him. Later around noon, Ryan and Jungkook met once again. She saw servants all over the place, decorating the whole home with flowers. Her eyes sparkled as she took in the fragrance. She watched Jungkook discussing the details with the manager and stepped ahead giving suggestions. Ryan's eyes lit up when discussing her preferences as she did them all so gracefully. Jungkook, you really know these things around. He complimented and watched her with admiration. Ryan, I used to do it a lot in foreign. Plan weddings as side hobby. Jungkook, that's quite an interesting hobby. He slid his hand in pockets and watched her walking over to stairs and changing the flowers there herself without taking anyone's help. His heart kept doing crazy things to him as he, without thinking, walked up to her, picked up a blooming flower, and tucked her in her hair. Jungkook resembles you so much. She blinked eyes, trying to hide her flustered face, and thanked him, continuing with her work. And Jungkook helped along, doing as she told him to do. Days passed by. They met, talked, laughed, and prepared for wedding together. They got close to each other. It became their habit to have their 3 meals of the day together, wishing each other morning and seeing off to bed every night. Jungkook told himself this is what he always wanted. He believed these feelings only existed in movies, and in real life, there is only affection and understanding. Yet wine made him feel what no one else could. A night before the wedding, he found her in library. He snuck in silently and captured her against a rack while she was looking for a specific book she wanted to read. Her breath got caught up in her throat as she looked up at him, holding the book tightly. Jungkook tucked the flower behind her ear, then cupped her cheek, which turned red soon. He knew he couldn't be the only one getting crazily drawn towards her. Jungkook, there's something I want to ask. Fine. What is that? She softly touched the flower, keeping her eyes on him. Jungkook, since the day I met you, I can't stop but being drawn towards you. Every time I push myself away, my heart gets angry. All my heart wants is your attention and your company. I've grown tired of fighting with my own heart. You did things to me no one had ever done before. You poisoned my heart, and its only antidote is you. He took another step closer. Jungkook, fine, if you go away and take this antidote with you, my heart will die. He held her hand, intertwining fingers with hers, eyes coming back to her. Jungkook, don't go away from me. Be mine, will you? There was silence for a long minute before Vine grabbed his collar and got up on her tiptoes. She placed her lips against his. Jungkook took it as a cue and wrapped his arm around her waist, pulling her against his body, and kissed her back. His other hand kept holding hers, and they got lost in that moment. How badly his heart wanted this. How much he waited for this. Jungkook, thank you, Vine. I'll keep you like the gem you are to my heart. Vine, stay how you are, Jungkook. Warm like home. He smiled and kissed her again, and then pulled her in his embrace. As her face dug in his chest, arms around his waist, and she tightened his grip. He placed a kiss to her head and closed his eyes finally, getting what his heart wanted so bad. Finally, his heart had started to heal. Jungkook, I love you.